Welcome back to the Fanspeak Network. Today, we will go over what we saw last night in Monday Night Football and look forward to betting Week 4 in the National Football League. All right, Tyler, what a fun night in Monday Night Football last night. I got some hot takes, but we'll start with you. What did you see last night?
Yeah, I think that Jacksonville should have fired Doug Peterson at halftime of that game. He's got to go. They need a new head coach in Jacksonville. But would that be the fourth head coach for Trevor Lawrence in this slow start of his career?
No, I think it'll be only second.
His contract.
No,
it wasn't.
There was an interim, maybe.
There was Urban Meyer.
Yeah, and then
there was Urban Meyer. I believe there was an intern.
Yeah,
and I can't remember if there was somebody in between Peterson and this.
I don't think
so. Going to be next. So I would get rid of Peterson.
Okay.
They don't look good at all. His contract looks worse by the game, and Buffalo looks like they're the second best team in the NFL right now. That's for the first game. The second,
it looked like the best team in the NFL. We just know that the Chiefs are tough to beat, but
yeah,
they look like the best team in the NFL. And for everyone loving the Jets and saying the Bills' defense sucked, Sean McDermott is just shoving it to you because they continue to get injuries and they just continue to get better. Obviously, the offense looked great last night, but the defense had to be the story of the game for the Buffalo Bills. Let's talk about Jacksonville a bit, though. I think there's terrible places to be as a franchise. And number one, in my mind, might be that you've paid a quarterback who's not the guy. And the teams I'm thinking about there are New York Giants, the Cleveland Browns, the Miami Dolphins, kind of, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look what happened when they gave this guy all this money. And at what point do we actually need results in order to justify that payment? Let's take out the college. Let's take out the high school. From what you've seen at the NFL level, what has he done to deserve this contract? I know we want to blame Peterson, but at some point, I think some of the blame has to just fall on Trevor himself for being basically a mediocre player who's completely overpaid. JC, happy for you to join us.
Oh, so glad to be here.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah, I was going to say it. He looks terrible. I'm not sure what's really wrong with him. He has weapons, but they just can't get anything going on offense. I'm not sure if it's the way they're running the offense, if they need a new setup, but he hasn't done much. He's done the same amount of work that Daniel Jones has done to get his contract, and that is win a wild card game, and that is pretty much it. So,
and now those two franchises, they're just completely hamstrung because they can't add any other players because they're paying these guys too much money for mediocre play.
No, I agree. So, but I think Trevor Lawrence is somewhat fixable in the right offense. I don't think Daniel Jones is fixable in the right offense.
That's fair enough. JC, what were your thoughts last night as the Buffalo Bills actually absolutely hammered the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Both games went the way I thought they would, just not to that extreme. I really just have been so unimpressed with Jacksonville. It seems like we kind of, looking back, just had maybe a few nice games from Trevor Lawrence, but he is not the guy. He's not the franchise guy. So really wasn't surprised that the Bills took care of business there. And then as for Washington, I've been saying since the beginning of the season, I think they're underrated. I think Jane Daniels is a tremendous quarterback. And you can go back to my NFC East preseason article. I picked the Commanders to win that division. And after week one, I said I think the Bengals are overvalued. I don't know if they're overrated, but they're just not a team I trust. So I really wasn't surprised at that outcome at all. I had money line thoughts. I didn't have the huevos to make that wager, so I'm not going to victory lap that. But I wasn't surprised at all that they covered, and winning was simply a cherry on top. And I think we need to evaluate how we look at Cincinnati.
Okay. I guess we're switching straight to that game then, huh? Any more thoughts on the Bills and the Jaguars? Because I have plenty of thoughts about the Cincinnati game.
Now,
JC,
Bills were the Bills and the Jaguars. The Jaguars.
I mean, what do you? So let's just say you're a Jacksonville fan, or you got hired to be in the front office, or you get to advise Shad Khan. What do? It just seems like they gave way too much money to the wrong guy, and they're in trouble now.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing it all over the league. We're seeing it in New York. We're seeing it in Jacksonville. We might be seeing it in Miami.
We're seeing it in Miami.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also crazy too because it's not like who was it? Who was the dude? Matt Flynn or like Jimmy G. Like everybody is screaming, he's not the guy. And we've seen for I don't know how many decades now, unless your name is Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, you can't win the Super Bowl with a quarterback on that kind of contract. It just doesn't allow you to have the payroll to build the necessary team to win a Super Bowl. So it's just, I don't know why it keeps going around the league. I mean, I guess because if it's all about selling tickets, having a guy that can get you to the playoffs is better than letting him walk and just being terrible and hoping to get lucky in the draft.
Yeah, and I think another team that was afflicted by it, and we'll talk about them as we get into the week 4 games, is Dallas.
Yeah,
remember how good they looked when Dak was on his rookie contract, and they were just stacked on both sides of the line.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've lost offensive players, they've lost defensive depth, they still have their stars, but that team has no depth, and it's because they gave Dak way too much money. All right, let's jump into the Washington Commanders and the Cincinnati Bengals, because this is my victory lap. And Meg, where are you in the chat? Because we talked about team building yesterday, and last night's game was the prime example of why you draft these quarterbacks, and you take the chance. Because guess what the Commanders have now? It's hope. Are they going to have a good season? No. I mean, the secondary is terrible. And they got lucky that Cincinnati Bengals defensive line is so banged up that they're able to run the ball more effectively than usual with that beat-up offensive line. But I'll tell you what, they have hope now, and they know, hey, we got something here, right? Would you rather be them, right? And that might even have close to the same record. Would you rather have Jaden Daniels and really, a terrible defense and a tough offensive line, or would you rather be the Raiders? You got some pretty good defensive players, arguably have better weapons when it comes to the deal, and no quarterback at all. So there's just no hope at all. There's no hope. And the mediocre quarterback is keeping you from getting that number 2 pick to get a player like Jaden Daniels. I thought it was a great referendum on my intention that you need to draft a quarterback, and that, yes, you are going to miss, but when you hit, it makes it all worth it. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I zoned out halfway through your speech.
Are you serious? What a jerk. JC, talk to me about my great wisdom I just dropped.
I mean, I really I understood how you closed it out, but from when you started, I really think the Raiders are just where the Commanders were like last year. I understand that you're saying the Raiders are likely not going to be in contention for a top draft pick, but you might be too bold in saying that because I don't think
bad.
Yeah, and also too, I don't know what the quarterback class looks like this year. It might be the kind of year where you can get the second or third best quarterback around 10. So don't certainly count them out. And again, I from what you said, you're just saying the Raiders are where Washington was last year.
To a certain
The Raiders are going to trade their only good players by the deadline.
That Meg thinks that you should get these journeyman quarterbacks and draft all these other positions. And I'm saying, no, you take the risk on the quarterback, because when you hit, it changes the whole franchise. A Brock Bowers can't change the franchise that way. A Joe Alt can't change the franchise that way. Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't changing that franchise. Without Kyler Murray, that team goes nowhere. My point is, as much as it sucks and as much as there's only like a 10 to 20% success rate, that's the only way to win. My final point on this, and I could be wrong because I'm going off the top of my head, one quarterback, there's only one team I can think of since the year 2000 that won the Super Bowl without a quarterback that they drafted. Can you guys think of any other one? I
Three.
can't.
There's three.
Who is it?
Yeah, there's
The
definitely
Rams
one.
went and got Stafford. The
Okay.
Broncos went and got Peyton. And the
Okay.
Buccaneers went and got Brady.
Okay. My mistake. So 3 out of
So-
24.
Well, because I was going to say, because your point still stands, you just really ruined it with a terrible fact there at the end, and I'm sure there's others.
I was going off the top of my head. I can only remember Manning.
Because I will back up
Was
Meg.
Foles drafted by Philly?
He didn't really win that Super Bowl, though. If he couldn't have played that whole season. Wentz got him.
He was the
there.
quarterback of the team
Yeah.
that won the Super Bowl.
Was he not the MVP?
for like 4 games.
Anyways,
I'm pretty sure he caught a touchdown in the game.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
right.
I mean,
On the Philly
that was
special,
such an
didn't he?
outlier. That doesn't count. They made the playoffs. If Nick Foles was the quarterback the whole year, they didn't win the Super Bowl.
I was going to say Kurt Warner, but they lost to Tyler Steelers. No,
Yeah, that's a good one.
Meg, to Meg's point, which even still, you could say Kurt Warner with the Rams. They didn't draft him.
Yeah, that might have been 2000. So I can't.
Fair enough.
No, they won in '99, I believe. I don't know.
To Meg's, I agree with Meg's point, but the problem was you can't go get an above average guy. Like the Broncos going to get Russell Wilson, that didn't work. Like layout, that's style of trying to win a Super Bowl and going to get that journeyman quarterback only works when you're getting a Hall of Fame level guy. He's got to be one of the best in the league.
And they're not available. They don't
When
become
Spread's team
available.
got smoked by Tampa Bay in 2003, did they draft Brad Johnson?
I don't know.
I think so.
Because I mean, like, what if the Raiders had they landed Aaron Rodgers? I'm not quite sure he's in that echelon with the guys I mentioned, but that's the kind of guy you need.
Like, for example, take Josh Allen off the Bills. They're a 4-win team. Like, quarterback means so much.
Yeah, but he's one of the ones where like the entire thing is built around him.
The journeyman
quarterback.
It's not a system. It's Josh Allen.
When you have an elite quarterback, it changes everything.
Right. And I'm just saying you either need a quarterback that doesn't take up the payroll or you need a Hall of Fame level quarterback.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I was saying at the beginning.
Yeah.
And when you pay these above average guys elite money, you're screwed. And now to me, the Jaguars are screwed.
They're absolutely screwed.
I just don't see Trevor ever becoming one of those top 5 guys that carries the team. Can he become serviceable? Will he become like a Baker or a Geno or a Darnold? Yes, but he's not going to become a guy that can just carry his team the way Mahomes is carrying his team, the way Allen's carrying his team, the way that Lamar Jackson is carrying his team.
I'm not as familiar with NFL payroll as I am MLB. What happens if you just cut him?
You accrue all the dead money, so you would have those holes in the salary cap for the next 2 or 3 years, whatever you guarantee.
So it still hits the cap.
Yes. Wow. That's why Denver's screwed right now this year. That's why Denver's not really that good because they have $50 million in Russ that they can't spend on other players.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That is one nice thing about baseball is you cut them. Even if you still got to pay them.
There's no salary cap in baseball.
Well, that's true. I guess it doesn't. Yeah. I mean, I know that, but I'm just saying, like, it's almost like it doesn't show up on the. No, it still stands up on what they're spending. You're right. It just doesn't matter. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So it's the guaranteed money, but we know the quarterbacks are getting that. And that's why the Browns are so screwed with Deshaun Watson.
You know, guaranteed money is another thing I don't really understand because they get these huge signing bonuses. But, like, how does that affect the cap?
So the team's only on the hook for the guaranteed money. So anytime they can terminate the contract and any non-guaranteed money is not going to go against the cap.
But like a signing bonus, is that just amortized over the life of the contract on the
signing bonus
cap?
goes on the year that they pay it out, which is why you'll see a lot of teams restructure and then make it a signing bonus then lower the payment in order to bring on new players.
So what these teams really should do is just go full on tank mode and just pay out their quarterback as much as they can that one season.
I don't even know if it's possible because it'd be like $150 million to get off Trevor, right?
I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean it's like the whole cap. So
yeah.
JC, any other thoughts about week 3 since we missed you yesterday before we dive into projecting week 4?
I got some victory laps I got to take, but I mean, pretty much any thoughts I have, I'll just wrap them into my previews for week 4 games.
All right, I'm pulling up these lines at bookmaker.eu. You might have some more favorable lines if you're betting in legal states. The New York Giants are now plus 5.5. This was 4.5 when I wrote it up yesterday. It's now 5.5. The total's 45. I think it was 46.5. Any reason for this move besides market money, Tyler? Is there an injury I'm not aware of?
Let me look at
It opened at 5.5, went down to 4.5, and now in America I'm seeing 5.
Okay, I'm seeing 5.5 offshore.
It's been moving.
Lawrence is hurt. That's the key piece of the Giants defense.
That makes sense. Okay, that's making sense. But that lowered the total. Huh. All right. Tyler, I know you like the Cowboys. Let everybody know why.
I think it's a buy low spot on the Cowboys. I mean, they fought back and almost won that Baltimore game. They have crushed the Giants in every matchup other than the one Andy Dalton started in the last 10.
Mm-hmm.
They beat them 49-17 the last time they played. They beat them 40-0 the game before that, 28-20, 23-16, 21-6, 44-20, and then the Andy Dalton game that Daniel Jones won 23-19. So when Daniel Jones plays Dak, he doesn't even keep the game close, and they've covered this 5.5 every time. So I think Dallas bounces back right here. Zeke's numbers at 25.5 rushing. I think that's too low. I know Dowdle's got more carries the last 2 weeks, but I think that's more game script related. They're down 14-0 in the blink of an eye to the Saints, and Baltimore scored on their opening drive, so they kind of had to go with the pass game or have Dowdle on the field. I think Zeke goes over the 25.5. I think he scores a touchdown too. I think Dallas just wins this game by at least a touchdown. I have nothing on the total.
Hard to argue there. I like the under in this game, JC. It's kind of correlated. I just don't think the Giants are going to be able to score points. We talked earlier about how weak Daniel Jones is. The only bright spot on that whole team is Malik Neighbors, and we're getting a Cowboys team coming off a loss. Should be looking to run up that score. What are your thoughts?
Man, this one's tough. I started my Thursday night write-up last night, and I just I'm having a tough time with it because if you look, I mean, if it wasn't for that fourth quarter Dallas had against Baltimore, this would be like a 3-point game maybe, but that just kind of showed they still have some life, which I think is huge. They're not as pathetic as we maybe thought they were. I've said what I've said about the Giants. I don't think Daniel Jones is that bad of a quarterback. They've shown some fight. And also, too, looking at their games, now sitting in week 4, looking back, those losses aren't as bad as we thought. Like losing to the Vikings, not that bad. They had to beat Washington, who's a good team if they had a kicker. And then they just beat the Browns. So it's really just a matter of whether – I just don't know how to assess Dallas. I don't know if what we've seen for them is truly who they are. And if that's the case, I like the Giants. But if they are better than this, I do see it being a bounce back spot potentially. It could be what we saw from the Jets last week in Thursday Night Football. I don't know if we can trust Dallas's defense to keep the Giants from scoring. And I don't know, if the Giants will be able to run the ball as effectively as the Saints and Ravens did on them. I mean, they certainly don't have the talent like those two teams did, but it's certainly their weak spot, something we got to look out for. And that total, man, that's another tough one just because Thursday night games where teams are playing on short rest, we've yet to see an over. But as I said, with both defenses being pretty pathetic, I could also see it going over pretty easily. I think whichever side you take, you're going to be sweating it. So, I mean, really, that's a long way to say I have no idea where I'm going to be betting on this game.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys defense looked pretty good against an inept Cleveland Browns offense. I think we'll see that again. I like the under or a Giants team total under. Tyler, any more thoughts on Thursday Night Football before we move on to the Sunday slate?
Nope, that's it for me.
All right.
Quick question. Why do you think – so you think, we're going to see the Dallas team we expected to see this season? You still got faith in them?
I just think they're better than what they've looked like. I don't think the Saints are good, but I think they caught Dallas on an off week and put up 40+. Everyone's giving Dallas shit for that. They lost to Baltimore, who I think is a little better than people think, but they almost stormed back and won that Baltimore game. I don't think they're the Cowboys of the couple past years, but I think they're still light years better than the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, I do really think you're probably right that the other big thing too is Giants don't have that run game that those other teams that they lost to had, and that could ultimately be the difference. Fair enough.
Right. New Orleans Saints, Tyler, are you ready to argue? They're plus 1.5. Atlanta taking on the Falcons. Totals 42.5. I projected this one as what? A 1-point Saints win, Tyler. So I like the Saints here. What are your thoughts?
Good luck. Taking Atlanta. Atlanta's defense has looked better over the last couple weeks. The two safeties are going to give Derek Carr and these guys hell. They're not going to be able to get the ball over the top to Shaheed or Olave. They're going to get the pass rush on Derek Carr. They lost their starting center. Their run game isn't as good as people think. I know Kamara punched in 4 touchdowns in one game, but if you look at his game logs, he's not as good as people think. He doesn't put up the rushing yards. Atlanta's a lot better than people think, too. Throw out the week 1 against Pittsburgh where Kirk didn't move, and they look like a legit team. I think that they crush this New Orleans team at home, so I'm on Atlanta. They'll be able to run the ball with Bijan. They'll get the ball moving through the air. Atlanta wins this game.
JC, the loss of that starting center is a concern for me, and I don't know if I adequately put that into my projections. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, I mean, we saw last week Kamara came back down to earth. That's what Tyler and I were screaming in that Dallas game. Is that's not something I think we should expect from him. So without him, I mean, they're really a mediocre team, and Atlanta's been impressive, right? They had that. The way they won against Philly was impressive, and they held their own against Kansas City. So being in a spot where I can just take the money line and not have to worry about points, I'll take Atlanta.
All right. I think one thing that you guys are missing on this game is I still think the New Orleans defense is better than the Atlanta defense. Anyone? Do you guys like it?
They're missing pieces. Like the linebackers hurt now. The defensive tackles hurt now. Like they're not as healthy as they were.
What do you think, JC? Which defense do you like better?
I mean, I guess I lean New Orleans, but also too, like they haven't really had that tough of opponents. I mean, Carolina,
we just watched his defense give up 150 yards to Saquon Barkley and 100.
They only gave up 15 points to Philadelphia.
Yeah,
but those were the only two skill players on the field. You literally had to stack the box and put a safety on Goddard, and the game was over.
It's not like Atlanta's overflowing with skill players. They have 3 skill players that are good.
Yeah,
I know Keg crushed with Darnell Mooney last week, but I'm not expecting that to happen every week.
Ray McLeod's getting the ball a lot. They're actually spreading the ball out. Philly condensed it as much as they could and won the game.
I also like the under here. I mean, just with everything you're saying, I don't think there's really any reason to think this is going to be a high-scoring game.
That's funny. I have this projected at 48.
Oh, all right. I might stay off of it then.
Yeah. We'll see, though. I told Tyler to start the show, though. We've seen this happen before. It happened with Buffalo a couple years ago. It happened with Miami. The way I make my projections, when you get those blowout wins, it kind of skews.
For sure.
You see what I'm saying? So,
yeah, absolutely.
Normally at 48, especially it was later in the year, but this early in the year and seeing how the Saints had the highest points scored for the first 2 weeks and then kind of came back to earth. They also lost their center. I don't know if I trust my projections there. But to me, I guess it would be over or pass. Also, Tyler, I had you look it up. What Saints are 7-3 in their last 10 against the Falcons. So I love that. Tyler, I hope we can agree here. As you're fighting Tomlins, the Pittsburgh Steelers are heading to Indianapolis. They're laying 2.5 now, but it's plus 102. So you can probably find -2 in most spots. Total of 40. Ooh, pretty high for a Steelers game. Nice to see them back in the 4s and not the 3s. Although I bet you this gets bet down and we'll see a 39 by the end of the week. Justin Fields heading to take on Anthony Richardson. Quite the experience for you as the Steelers fan to have a quarterback advantage. How do you feel about this game? And can we take the Steelers once again 3-0 against the spread this year?
I want to say yeah, but their injury report kind of scares me.
Alex
Highsmith on the other side. Alex Highsmith on the other side of Watt's already rolled out. Jalen Warren's not going to play. The starting slot corner is not going to play. Najee's questionable. They also have a guard that is questionable, and the tackle went on the IR right before last week's game. So they should win. I think there's possibilities where we're looking at this game afterwards and we're going Anthony Richardson threw 3 picks and Jonathan Taylor ran for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns, and they won the game by 3. So
yeah, I could also see Richardson grabbing 100 yards on the ground because that's pretty much, I think, the only way.
This is the spot. This is the spot where Pittsburgh can't lose, and they lose. So
Indy's also much better at home. We talked about that yesterday on the Overreaction show, Tyler, that we only wanted to back them at home. We didn't have any interest in them on the road. To me, it's Steelers or pass, though, JC. What do you think?
Definitely Steelers or pass. I don't love it. I still think the under is the better play here. I really don't know what to make of Indianapolis. There's no reason to think highly of them. So, I mean, it is definitely Pittsburgh or pass. I don't know. I guess I just want to think Anthony Richardson's going to turn it around. He's shown flashes, but overall been pretty not dependable. So I'm just going to keep hammering these unders on Steelers games. But, yeah, certainly Steelers or pass.
All right. Tyler, anything more on this one, or do we want to move on? Do you think I'll be able to talk you into Steelers play tomorrow morning?
Steelers are 6-2 ATS in their last 8 against Indy and 8-1 straight up in the last 9 against Indy.
Yeah, bro, we're playing Steelers.
Yeah.
All right. The aforementioned Jacksonville Jaguars, Tyler, do we think they bounce back against the Houston Texans? Total is 45 right here. We kind of lamented Trevor, but we know that nobody's as bad as their worst game and nobody's as good as their best game. Texans, although also coming off a very disappointing loss, they kind of got obscured because of the number of upsets we had yesterday. But the Texans have to be disappointed with the performance they put forth in Minnesota. Now they head home. They're laying 7 at home against the Jaguars. Do we think that this Trevor turmoil continues, or do you think the Jags can bounce back and keep this one close and against a division rival?
I think it can keep it a little close, but I think Houston prevails in the end. Like, I think it's a good teaser spot, knocking them down to 1. I think they win the game.
Those have been terrible this year. Teasing favorites has been this is like the worst year ever to tease favorites.
Yeah, but I just don't trust Jacksonville to win this game, and I think Houston bounces and gets a win here. So I think it's a decent spot to do it. Jacksonville's 2-10 in their last 12 against Houston. They have just not fared well in this matchup.
Aren't they 1-9 in their last 10 games overall too?
Yeah, they are absolutely terrible in the recent games. I wouldn't pull the trigger yet, though, because I still think there's time for them to fire Doug Peterson, and you get the new head coach bump.
They're not firing anyone at week 3. They're not firing anyone week 3.
Wow.
Who are you going to bring in?
They just use anybody.
I don't even think even Belichick or
After
Rabel
a
will
loss
take
like
a job
that,
at this point.
anybody.
You know how many time to? I mean, what are you going to do? Try and install a new
They
system?
they just plug an interim in for now.
Nah, I mean, I don't think we see anyone get fired till week 8 or week 9. You can't fire someone this early. What do you think, JC? Can you fire someone in week 3?
Sure. Why can't you? I mean, this team had playoff aspirations. They're playing in a pretty pathetic division, and they're 0-3. And not even, I mean.
I'm glad I don't work for you guys.
An ugly 0-3 too.
That was pretty demoralizing last night. What are you making of this game, though? Are the Texans ready to be laying 7 against a division rival? Normally, these division games are sitting at 3 or 3.5.
Absolutely not. I love Jacksonville +7. I do not think there's a chance in hell they win this game. 7 is way too many points to be laying on the Houston side. And even better than that bet is the total. Why on earth is this number so high? Jacksonville's hasn't even scored 20 points in a game yet this season.
That's funny. I have projected to score 20.
Okay, even still. And then Houston, I mean, sure, they put up 29 on Indy, but they could only manage 19 against Chicago, 7 against the Vikings. I have no clue how this game gets to 46 points.
That's funny. I have this right at 46 on my projections. I have the 6-point win for the Jaguars. I mean, for the Texans. Probably not of an edge to make a play. Tyler, I don't know. If you really like the Texans here, you can talk me into it. Otherwise, we can see if a favorite teaser actually works. But I don't really love this game at all.
Kind of an odd trend. The away team has won last 5 times between
All
these
right.
teams.
Jaguars money line plus 268. Let's move on, Tyler. Are you ready to argue? The Minnesota Vikings are plus 2.5. They're in Green Bay. They're taking on the Packers, total 44. I'm assuming this line means that we will see one more week of Malik Willis. Can Sam Darnold and the Fighting Vikings get it done, Tyler?
You think Malik Willis would be favored by 2.5 over Sam Darnold, who's 3-0?
At home? Yeah, because that means the teams are even.
I mean, I don't see that.
No.
So you guys think Jordan Love is playing?
That number says Jordan Love's playing. I don't know what you're
I'm
looking
Googling
at,
it right now.
yeah.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he's
Yeah.
playing either. So I would lean Minnesota at that number. But
No way.
that number in my head, that number is telling me in my head that Jordan Love's going to be on that field on Sunday.
I agree with what Tyler's saying.
All right. This is from Minnesota Vikings on SI. Limited and day by day, Jordan Love's status for the Vikings remains a mystery. So we have nothing. He said he was limited in practice, and it'll probably be not decided until Sunday morning.
It's going to be one of those ones where they don't play their hand until the last second. And they go, oh, yeah, by the way, he's playing.
Nag likes the Texans team total bounce back. I could see that.
If Jordan Love's on the field, I want the Green Bay Packers. If he is not, slightly into the Vikings.
What do you think, JC? I think I like the Vikings. I hope that they take more money, though. I'd rather be getting 3 or 3.5 here.
I mean, if it is Darnold versus Malik Willis, I like the Vikings straight up. If Jordan Love's playing, I want no part of this game, so I'll definitely just wait. I was going to say I'll wait till kickoff, but I think I'll be on a flight. That really stinks. Hopefully you figure it out.
Where are you flying to?
I got to go to Dallas this week for work.
Oh, fun.
What do you guys think about taking a ticket on Green Bay Super Bowl right now at like 28-1?
No interest in that.
Why not?
Going to Jerry
28-1 is a lot. You can start hedging, like you're basically betting they make the conference championship game, because at that point it's
we're getting
money.
a team that was a top 5 in odds at 28-1 because their quarterback missed 2 games and they won both of them.
I mean, also too, I guess, what other competition is there in the NFC besides the Niners?
Yeah, right now
San Francisco. I mean, somebody's going to get hot too. Detroit's pretty good. We really don't know how good Minnesota is. Seahawks, maybe they're good. I don't know if I believe that, but
the team that's going to get hot is Green Bay when Jordan Love gets back.
All right, that's a really good. Yeah, I'm sorry, I completely walked that back. You said 28-1.
Yeah.
I actually don't believe in Green Bay, but I can't argue against that price. 28-1.
I mean, $20.
No, it should be like 12-1. Well, see, they probably won't win the Super Bowl, no matter who they faced.
That's true.
If you're sitting on a 28-1, and they get there and they're playing the Chiefs. I mean, you just
but what are the odds on them just to win the NFC?
Probably like less than half. It's probably 13-1.
Really?
12-1.
10-1.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
That makes more sense. Yeah, you might as well just do the full 28 because your head potential is so much better.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that game's tough to handicap. You guys just want to move on?
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. A tale of two cities here. The Cincinnati Bengals had to be disappointed by that loss last night. We all thought they were going to bounce back. And let's be honest, one side of the ball did. Burrow never punted. They didn't have a turnover. A little problems in the red area. But for the most part, the Bengals offense bounced back. That Bengals defensive line, though, is shambles. I think there are backups at all 4 on their 4-3. And we saw that as Washington, who we don't rate their offensive line highly, was able to get both runners involved and just move the ball with ease through the ground. Now, the Carolina Panthers offensive line actually ranked pretty well. And then we saw that once they had a real quarterback, they're able to do fine. Panthers catching 4.5 at home. Tyler, do you think Cincinnati gets their first win, or is this going to be Red Rifle season?
We got to touch on one thing you said in there. You think Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson are backups at their position? You said all
played
four
last
guys on
night?
that defensive line. Yeah.
I'm
the
sorry,
two guys
I
that
meant
missed
the
were the two interior.
the two
The two
interior.
interior guys missed.
And
Rankins,
I think their
Rankins
backups
and
were
Hill
missing,
both
so
missed.
that's
Yeah.
where I got wrong. I think their backups even got
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
messed up.
The one backup was missing for them too. Yeah. So they were on the third stringers. But yeah, when you said all four,
excuse
I'm
me,
like, two
not
of those guys
defensive
are
line,
really
but
good.
defensive part of the defensive line. I'm sorry.
Interior.
Thank you for
Yeah.
correcting me.
Okay.
I was wrong for the first time on this whole show.
But back to the game. I mean, let's look at it. What is it? It's getting ready to be October. Check your watch. Probably about time Cincinnati starts playing real football. So This is the bounce back spot. I don't think Carolina could run the ball like Washington just did. And how many times was Washington in the third down spot and Jaden Daniels kept
I don't see why not. They have a higher ranked offensive line by PFF, and you know that my concerns with the way the PFF grades, but I don't think it's that far fetched.
I don't think it's guaranteed. I don't think it's guaranteed that these other guys miss the game again too. So
okay, fair enough.
I also think that if they get into a shootout, that Cincinnati can put more points on the board than Carolina can.
I agree with that too. JC, how do we approach this one? Are you laying it with the Bengals? Sounds like Tyler. Two cat teams facing off. I don't even know who to root for.
Unreal. Yeah, I mean, I know I've been dragging Cincinnati for 3 weeks, but I mean, this Panthers team is I downgrade Vegas more than I upgrade the Panthers after last week. I will gladly.
Good thing they don't have relegation. We'd be playing in the XFL next year.
I will gladly double down on fading the Panthers because as much of crap as I've talked about Cincinnati, they're not this bad. You know, they're not. I don't think they are a playoff or a Super Bowl contender, but they're still not so bad that they're going to lose to Carolina. And it's interesting looking at Cincinnati's schedule because after this, they have to go home to play Baltimore. Then they're at New York to play the Giants and at Cleveland. So, I mean, you know, you take care of business here. You're looking at, 3-3, or I'm sorry, 4-3, 3-4, depending on what they can do in Baltimore. So if they want to turn around their season, it has to start here. If they don't, I don't know. I might fade Cincinnati the rest of the season, but this is if they want to prove they are still a playoff team, they need to destroy the Panthers. Go ahead. This is the game. If you want to tease this one out because Cincinnati should blow them out.
So you guys aren't persuaded by the performance of Andy Dalton last week?
Not even a little, because I think the Raiders look that terrible.
I think he can have a good game in his revenge squad. But
what's up? It is Andy Dalton revenge game, right?
A decent game in his revenge squad, but I don't.
Has he ever played them before?
I think this.
Bro, with him in there, Deontay Johnson's so good in fantasy all of a sudden. I like him to go over 100 yards.
Andy Dalton is 2-1 against the Bengals in his career. He beat him when he was with Chicago, when he was with Dallas.
It can't really be a revenge game then, where he played him 3 times.
All right. I don't know what I would do there. Let me see what my projections say.
Don't you think Carolina kind of had the new quarterback bump last week too, where it's like, oh, we have an actual human-sized quarterback?
Yeah, but you don't know. Why wouldn't that carry over though?
I mean, maybe it does, but normally it's like a one-game like spike in the team, and then they kind of slowly revert back to what they were.
Do we need them off the sheet, Tyler?
You said what?
Oh, no, it's the first game. I have the Bengals winning by 6.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm probably not brave enough to take the Panthers here. I just think they're going to be able to run the ball just like Washington did last night. I mean, Washington's O-line isn't that good. And they look like the 83 Hogs, the way they were.
Chuba Hubbard
Robinson
and Miles Sanders will be carrying the water bottles for Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson.
But we all know that running the ball doesn't matter who the running back is. It matters what kind of holes the offensive line did. That's why running backs.
It does when they're named Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders.
I mean, Chuba Hubbard's not that bad. Miles Sanders is. Chuba
We'll see.
Hubbard's like
Cincinnati wins by double digits.
he's like your guy James Conner that you think is so awesome. He's not that bad. He's like your guy Rashad White that you don't think is better than Zach Charbonnet, which is still unbelievable to me. Anything more from this game?
No.
All right. Yeah. 2 cat teams. I don't know where I'll go there. The Los Angeles Rams coming off that miracle win over the 49ers. I'll tell you one, I did not expect that. You got to give credit to Stafford. You got to give credit to McVay. I was listening to some of the X's and O's guys. I think it was Sharp talking about how McVay's ran primarily 11 formation most of his coaching career, and they had to switch to 12, and it worked. And I think that's a good example of understanding the situation and adjusting your play calling. And I wish that like my Raiders were able to do that because they can't run the ball and they keep trying to do it. Right. So rather than just sticking to your philosophy, he adjusted, went out of his comfort zone, and we saw how well the team was able to respond when they just put the best players on the field. It also helped mitigate the fact that offensive line is still in shambles. The Chicago Bears are laying 2.5. Caleb Williams is looking better. I think he's going to be really good by the end of the year, but his offensive line is in shambles too. I think I would like the Rams here, Tyler, just because I think I'm getting the better quarterback and the better coach. What do you think?
I got a full pass on this game. I got nothing.
Okay, that's fine. We don't need to waste time. JC, who do you like?
I love the Rams. It seems too easy, so I don't know if I'm gonna. I'm going to, but
Did
it
I
just seems
screw up my projections here?
It seems. I mean, I don't know why Chicago is favored. I mean, they couldn't even beat Indianapolis. They couldn't beat Houston. Meanwhile, the Rams, yeah, they had a crappy game against the Cardinals, division rival. Also, I mean, who knows what's make the Cardinals? But they just beat San Francisco, and they went toe to toe with the Lions. Getting points. I don't know why you wouldn't bet the Rams, and especially considering how dogs have been this season, I see no reason to bet Chicago.
All right, I'm with you. I like the Rams plus the point. But my projections love the Bears. I have no idea why.
I don't either.
Just because the Rams defense has been so bad. All right.
Maybe.
Denver Broncos are catching 7.5. Bo Nix looked great last week, Tyler. You refuse to give him credit. What are you going to do when he covers against the New York Jets this week?
He's not doing that.
You think they get
He's
blown
not doing
out?
that for one. He's not doing that for one reason and one reason only. New York's defense isn't half as banged up as what Tampa Bay's was when they played them. Like, yeah, they might be down. Looks like they're going to be down a linebacker. Stephon Reddick's still nowhere to be found. C.J. Mosley's got a questionable tag. But outside of that, everyone else can be out there. You've seen the pressure at the Brissett on Thursday night. They're going to put pressure on Nick.
You got to think Denver's offensive line is better than the Patriots' offensive line, though, right?
It's a little better, but I still think they're going to get pressure on Nix. They're going to cause him to make bad plays. He's dumb enough to throw the ball in Sauce Gardner's direction too, so expect him to get an interception in this game.
Why do you think he's dumb? Like, he had a 26-2 interception ratio in college. Like, it's not like
he was a check down merchant in college. We're not going to go there.
Well,
we're not going to do this. You found one stat where you can throw the ball down the field 1 week in his entire career, and now you're going to flaunt it. Yeah,
I am going to.
He's not that good. He's going to commit turnovers in this game. Running backs have gouged this Denver defense through the air and on the ground. Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, probably the best 1-2 punch in the league, are going to give these guys troubles. So I think the Jets win this game. Maybe they don't cover 7, but they win.
Yeah, I got 7.5 offshore. JC, I'm going to take Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos to cover. Your thoughts?
I mean, based on how this season is going, I don't know any matchup where I would lay more than a touchdown. I have no interest in doing that. I don't really have that much faith in Denver, though, so I'm not running to bet the Broncos. However, I think Denver's decent. I don't think they're going to get, shut out or anything. So I am tempted to take the over 38.5 to see the Broncos put up, 10. I could easily see the Jets putting up 30 on them. But I'm even still, it's hard to say if what we saw on Thursday night was what that was about. Was it a divisional thing? Was it the Patriots being the Patriots, or are the Jets finally playing to the level we think they can? So really, ultimately what I'm saying is I have no interest in this game.
All right. If you do like that over, though, JC, head offshore. It's only 38 over here on Bookmaker. The very
what do your
next
projections
game,
have?
Oh, good point. I think they have the Jets killing them.
I've been on the total.
Let me look. Jets by 8.5, and I have it at 41.
All right. I'm going to pull the trigger on that.
All right. Tyler, I spent all last week slandering the Philadelphia Eagles, and they just shoved it to me. So I'm not going to do that this week. They're traveling to Tampa. Tampa coming off one of the worst performances of the year. Are they going to get any healthier? Because if not, I mean, it's just Saquon's season on the props, right?
Yeah, if this is a wait and watch the injury report game, if Vita Vea, Antoine Winfield, Cansey, and these guys all miss again, you just snap bet the Eagles because Saquon's going to lower his offensive player of the year number even more because he's going to run for 100 yards and probably 2 touchdowns again. The dude's just a machine behind this offensive line. Hurts will probably get involved. Not sure if Smith will be back. He took that bad hit. He may have a concussion and be out for this game. But I think that it's just going to be the Saquon show. So I am all over Saquon props in this game. Nothing on the side yet until I make sure that these guys are out. What do you think, JC?
Man, I'm just taking the under because I agree the inconsistent nature of Philly has me scared. I don't know what to make of Tampa Bay after their performance at home against Denver. So I'm not really rushing to a side either. But based on how Philly's defense has performed and knowing Tampa Bay is liable to just, do nothing on offense, I think under 45 is a great bet.
All right. JC likes the under in that game. Where did I have that one projected? I got that one at 49. To be fair, though, the Buccaneers offense looked really good the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's
right. And I'm going off 3 weeks of data, and so that's why
same with Philly.
If it was like week 10, I would really be like backing these projections more, but I just feel like they're so prone to just 1 week can skew everything the way I do things. And I don't like to manually adjust it because I know my biases and I feel like, right, I would like make the Saints better because I like them and I want them to be good, right? So that's why I'm not touching them. I'm just letting it spit out. But I am aware.
If you take out week 1, I'm sure your projections would be very under on this game.
If I took out week 1?
Yeah, because both teams had high scoring games in week 1, and then week 2 and 3, both teams had low scoring.
Right, and that week 1 for Philly is even more fraudulent because of the conditions it was in.
Exactly.
Yeah, so this is why we watch the games, and this is why we talk about it, and we're not just putting the numbers in and just betting them off the numbers because we are aware of the flaws. Let's talk about Meg's favorite team, the Washington Commanders. Can they follow up their amazing primetime win with a win over the Arizona Cardinals? Tyler, they're catching 3.5. Highest total on the board of 50. And why not? Great offense, terrible defense. Washington seems like an over team to me. That's the way I think I'd approach this game. I like the over. If you got involved with the side, though, who would you take? You're muted. I should have muted you when you
I'm not touching the over because I think there's some stat that says when the games are lined at 50 this year, they've all went under it by like 13 points. So would not touch the over here.
Well, yeah,
even everyone thought Detroit and Arizona was flying over 51 last week.
Yeah, 33.
I think Arizona wins this game rather handily, though. I'm not going to play the total. If I did, I'd play the under. I think Arizona's offense is going to have its way with this defense. Marvin Harrison's going to have a crazy good game. You can see the other receivers get involved. Even if McBride misses with the concussion, I still think they crush. Probably be on Kyler's rushing prop again, too.
Yeah, if McBride misses, Harrison props should be undervalued. JC, I have this game as the Cardinals winning by 4, so not really much of an edge on the projections. What do you think? Can my Washington Commanders 2-1, my new favorite team, just to stick it to Meg and just say Jaden Daniels is the man, offensive rookie of the year? Can he continue his campaign this week, or is this where things come crashing back to earth and we return to our priors?
Definitely not crashing back down to earth. I do love the over. I don't think Tyler's stat really matters when we're only 3 weeks through the season. I haven't watched a second of Arizona Cardinals football this season, so I'm not really rushing.
What are you missing out? You're missing out. That's one of the most fun teams in football.
For sure. I know, definitely. My schedule's been a little bit crazy, so I haven't been able to sit down and watch every game like I usually can. So regardless, this definitely will be a fun one to watch because it should be a lot of points.
Yeah.
Getting that extra half a point definitely makes me lean Washington on the side because I do think it'll be a close, high-scoring game. So probably just take the over is what I'm looking at here.
Yeah. As much as I want to take the Commanders here, just to keep arguing with you, Tyler, here's my concern. I think the offenses are pretty close to equal, and that Arizona defense is way better than the Washington defense. Also coming off that big win, right? A potential letdown spot, short week. So might be out to be another week before I get back to being a Commanders bandwagon guy. But had them last night. I love that. And, I'm going to continue to back them here selectively this season, but this might not be the time. Still, that 3.5 it's looking enticing, and I think there's a reason they put that line there, right? Because I think they know there's money going to be coming on Arizona. Tyler, the biggest spread of the weekend is the San Francisco 49ers. They're -10 at the New England Patriots. So far, the teams laying the most points for the first 3 weeks have lost outright. I don't think that trend continues here, though, Tyler. What do you think?
No, I'm not touching this game either. I don't think it continues, but I'm not laying 10, and I'm not taking 10 on the other side, and I have nothing on the total, so complete stay away.
All right, won't waste time then. JC, are you getting involved?
It's definitely tempting, but like I said, I'm not laying more than a touchdown this season. But when you're looking at it, I mean, San Francisco back-to-back losses, getting to go home, facing a sorry Patriots team, certainly could be a blowout. The over-under is 39, which makes me interested to know what San Francisco's team total is. But
I had that right around there. I have it 25-13, so I had it at 38.
It's certainly going to see San Francisco win by a touchdown, if not more. I mean, this could be like a crazy, 30-3 type of game. But again, I'm just not going to lay 10.5 points. No shot.
Tyler, will Brandon Ayuk finally earn his money this week, or is it Juwan Jennings season again?
To be completely honest, I have no idea. Brock Purdy's hurt too. I'm not sure what's going to go on in this game.
How much does that line change if he sits?
Dude, I might go down under here.
-6, right? I mean, it's got to go down at least 4 points.
Yeah.
I kind of like the under.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing to be said is if you really thought Purdy was going to sit, take the 10 now because this line is listed as he's playing.
I think you should just take the under because I mean that's just way too many points. And if he sits,
the problem is the Niners can get there on their own if they get back to form.
But
they're not going to get back to form with half their team missing.
Right, exactly. They're not going to put up 35 points. I don't see it. Like I see 28, and I could see the Patriots putting up like 6.
I don't know if the Niners defense is on the level of the Jets defense right now. They got some problems.
They held Minnesota to 17.
Fair enough.
I mean, there's a lot of good bets this weekend, so there might not be no reason to force it, but under 39 is enticing.
All right, Tyler. The biggest disappointment of human existence, the Las Vegas Raiders, are laying 1 point.
Not where I thought you were going.
Browns. What's up?
Not where I thought you were going with that opener, so I'm relieved. I guess I'm on deck.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation could be a bigger disappointment in human history. At least we can get out of this mess by next year. The Browns are stuck in turmoil for 3 years with this crap.
Mm-hmm.
We can pull a Meg. We can pull 1 year away. We can just draft a stud rookie quarterback and hope can fill our hearts and joy can fill our minds. And we can watch beautiful shootouts on Monday Night Football. But right now, that's not the case, which is why this total is 37.5. Tyler, do you think that the Raiders bounce back after an embarrassing performance, or is it just time to admit that the combination of Antonio Pierce and Luke Getsy is not going to be capable of competing at a high level? I mean, the Browns have to have the coaching advantage here, right, with Stefanski. They've looked much better. Myles Garrett and Max Crosby are both banged up, so who knows what to make of that. But both those players are completely key to the defense. Maybe if they both miss, this game can go over. I hate to say it, although I said it last week against Daniel Jones, and I was wrong. Browns might have a quarterback advantage here too. I mean, who knows? You don't think so, JC? I'll start with you then, since you're shaking your head.
No, I didn't really get a chance to victory lap that on the Giants-Cowboys game. But
yeah, go ahead. I already got beat up all day yesterday. I got the victory lap today because I had the Commanders last night. Hey, how'd you do that?
No idea, but I appreciate it. Whoever did that.
Did you do that, Tyler?
I didn't do it.
Oh, okay. For those who are just listening, there was a thumbs up that went next to JC's head right there as he victory lapped me.
The Browns have, I mean, I want to say they might have the worst quarterback in the league. And especially when we factor in payroll, he's far and away the worst, right? Like, I mean, if we want to argue, is he better than Andy Dalton and Bryce Young? I don't know. But, like, when looking at the teams that
he's better than Bryce Young.
But would you rather have Bryce Young or Deshaun Watson?
At the contract, Bryce Young.
All things being equal? Same contract?
Like, you just cut him. Like, what did you do with Deshaun? It's $50 million in the hole. Bryce Young, it's a first-round contract that you –
right,
but Bryce Young – money.
I'm just saying, even if you put them both on rookie contracts, I'd still rather have Bryce Young because Deshaun Watson.
Oh, no, Deshaun Watson's better than Bryce Young. Bryce Young's not even an NFL caliber player. I mean, that was proven last week.
But we know what Deshaun Watson is. You at least got potential with Bryce Young. I don't think there's any reason to.
I think Deshaun Watson's got more potential.
Regardless, doesn't matter.
Okay,
he's a terrible quarterback. He's so trash, and I don't know why. Like, people still think he's okay or like can win games. Like he's sorry. It's
so you like Minshew more than Watson is what you're telling me.
Way more. Like there's so few guys in this league I would take over Deshaun Watson. So just give me the Raiders. Like I don't know.
Skylar Thompson more than Deshaun Watson?
Oh jeez. Just
asking the tough questions, JC, putting you on the spot.
Yeah, if next week I'd rather have Deshaun Watson running out there for Miami than Skylar Thompson. I'll give you that. Probably. I don't know what it will take for me to bet Cleveland this season, but I
the Raiders, that can't do it for you?
No,
Carolina.
I might go Carolina. I might go Carolina over the Browns. So I don't think the Raiders are as bad as you think they are. They might not be a good team, but they're good enough to beat the Browns by 2.
All right, JC likes the Raiders. What do you think, Tyler?
I wouldn't bet this game with money I picked up off the ground.
Weird analogy, but I understand what you're saying.
What would you do with that money?
I can't bet on the Raiders. They suck. And I'm not.
Okay, so someone out there is watching this game and they have a pick and pull and they have to pick every single game. Give them some advice, Tyler.
Browns.
Okay.
I have no
great advice.
Like no take in it, no like serious conviction in it, no reasoning behind it. That's who I think wins the game.
Okay. And I really don't know what to make. I mean, I'm so disappointed in the effort that Las Vegas put forth last week. And my main concern with Las Vegas is that they're trying to run a scheme they don't have the personnel for. I mean, this team could actually be mediocre if they just they leaned into Andy Reid and passed the ball like 65 to 70% of the time. But when you give up the first 2 downs on run plays that we know aren't going to work because our running back's not key for the scheme and this offensive line is below average. I mean, the one player we had, Colton Miller, I don't know what's going on with him. He missed all of training camp. Maybe he's just not healthy. Because offensive linemen don't get washed up this early in their career. I've never seen a guy at 28 become crappy. It's not like they're running backs. So that's really surprising. And if they want to get the rookie involved that they drafted in the second round, that means they have to bench their best player, Dylan Parham, who's had the best PFF grade of any of their offensive line grades. So maybe they do that, right? But that downgrades the team. I mean, who knows what to make of Devontae Adams? He disappeared last week, but we saw 2 weeks ago against Baltimore. I mean, he can still get it done.
Let me save you some breath. The title of this show is called Best Week 4 Sides and Totals to Bet Now. And this game is just not one of the best ones. Let's just get on to the next game.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was thinking the same thing.
Nobody wants to bet the Raiders and the Browns. Literally nobody.
All right. Fine.
We don't need.
Can we talk about the Commanders some more then?
Left tackle for a bottom 5 NFL team.
Oh man! All right, I think about them a lot. Okay, I have a lot on my mind. Two teams that I should probably think about more. The Kansas City Chiefs are in Los Angeles taking the Chargers. The Chargers are +8. This line to me says that it's going to be Heineken all over again. Heineken is a great imported beer. Not a very good backup quarterback. Chiefs have never been good at covering the spread, though. Can the Fighting Harbaughs keep this one close? If I had to bet it, I would take the 8, but I don't want to bet this game either, Tyler, so I'll save you your breath.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to lay 8 with the Chiefs. I'm not taking the 8 with the Chargers either, though. The Chiefs are going to win this game. It's just by – I don't think they win it by margin.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe wait and hope that the Chargers score first, and you can get a better number on the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't see Heineke being.
Are you going to tease this with the Texans?
You could do that. I kind of like the under, though, because I don't think the Chiefs are really going to be moving the ball through the air a lot. They're going to start pounding it on the ground more once they get the lead. Chargers aren't going to put that many points up either. I like the under.
Yep.
All right. What do you think, JC?
Yeah, I mean, sticking with what I've been saying, I'm not laying more than the touchdown. It's really funny. I kind of thought the same thing about Kansas City, but I was writing my week 1 article. Last year, Kansas City was like 12-5 against the spread. And so what I'd be interested to know is, yes, they were. They were surprisingly good against the spread, but I think what it is, I would love to know Patrick Mahomes' record against the spread when being favored by more than a touchdown, because I think that is probably a trash record. So, like
I don't think they were. I'm looking that up.
Please do. I'm within one game, but I'm almost positive it was 12-5. I saw today that Herbert's X-rays came back negative. I don't really know what the outlook, though, overall is on him.
You're right. 13-7, including the playoffs. So if you take out those playoff games, I stand corrected, JC. You're the man.
Thank you. I appreciate your acknowledgement. Under, like Tully said, under is probably the way to go if you want to touch this game at all. But even still, I'm trying to pull it up, but my system's running really slow. I wanted to see what the record against the spread is head to head.
I'll look that up right now. Tyler, do you have anything more on this game?
Nope, that's it for me on this one.
Just not
all right, final game. You guys break that down while I look it up. The Sunday night game, I wrote this up this morning. It'll be out on Odds Trader tomorrow. Buffalo Bills they were +2.5 when I wrote it. They're +2 right now. I mean, that makes sense. How can you bet against the Buffalo Bills right now? If Patrick Mahomes didn't exist, we'd all be calling Josh Allen, a threat to Tom Brady and Joe Montana.
4-5-1. Chargers are 4-5-1 against the spread with the Chiefs.
Fair enough. Okay.
Kansas City winning the last 2.
Is there anyone who wants to take the Ravens here? I'm taking the Bills, dude. I'm just gonna keep betting on this team till they lose.
Yeah, give me the Bills. Defense looks good. Their run defense looks astounding. They're gonna stuff the run. I don't think Baltimore can really move it through the air, so I think the Bills win this game rather easily.
I mean, if Baltimore lost that game last week, maybe I would consider taking Baltimore, but I like them coming home happy after a win. I think they know this is a big game. However, I mean, this Bills team is well-rounded. They can move it on the ground. They can move it through the air. Allen actually looks better when he doesn't have to feed one little crybaby diva receiver, and he can just move the ball around, and nobody cares, and they're all happy to get the ball. They're all happy to be a part of a winning organization, and they all have different strengths and weaknesses, right? Kincaid's great underneath in that zone. Shakir's great when you're going down the field, and Keon Coleman's a nice big target to look at when they want to close up those zones a little tighter. So this is a versatile team. We all worried about this Bills defense. Let's give credit to McDermott. He's obviously coached these guys up because on paper, go look at their Madden rankings. It's not a collection of talent, but they look fantastic on the field. I like the Bills. Anything more, JC?
No, not really. I mean, you look at Baltimore. They lost to the Raiders. They nearly blew a 22-point lead to the Cowboys. The fact that you're getting points with Buffalo, that's an incredible bet.
And Allen's better than ever. I mean, he just continues to improve.
100%.
I think he's. I just think he's kind of consistently great. That's kind of interesting.
Fair enough.
He isn't. He isn't just out there just like trying to make plays down the field and throwing a lot of interceptions. Like
he does look much more structured. Yeah,
he does, and he knows when the guys aren't close. Don't force it in there. Just take off. And he's not getting hit either. He's preserving his body. I mean, it was pretty easy last night because they knew. Okay, so we're not going to do the Monday night games.
I'd say great show. We'll save it all for Monday. Yep.
Because you don't want to talk about the Miami Dolphins, do you, JC?
I am just now learning that they have the Monday night game. Like, I knew they were hosting Tennessee. I apologize to America. I'm so glad there are 2 Monday night games because that's just terrible.
And that other one looks good.
Yes. Yeah.
Seahawks Lions, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Although it sucks because I'm rooting for the Seahawks and I think they might get smoked. I kind of think that 3-0 is kind of fraudulent for Seattle, looking at who they've gone against.
Big time.
I'd really like them to be good though. Tyler Huntley starting for the Dolphins though. JC, your thoughts?
Can't be worse than Skylar Thompson.
Oh, dude, it's a big upgrade.
Yeah,
Huge upgrade.
yeah.
And you have running ability out of the quarterback spot now.
You're gonna have a quarterback controversy now. He's gonna be just as good as Tua.
I mean, but the team just looked awful last week. I mean, I was just terrible on all fronts, so I'm definitely not excited. My heart won't let me bet Tennessee, but that's probably the smart move.
I don't think it's smart to bet on Will Levis.
We got to save this for Monday, fellas.
Yes, for sure. I'll have more developed thoughts then.
I mean, Will Levis should be working for what's that company? Salvation Army. The way he gives games away, right? Just give. All right, what's your best bet for the week, Tyler?
Took me a second, but you got there.
Yeah, I know. I'm slow today.
Best bet for the week. Give me the Falcons.
Oh, F me. Are you serious?
No one wants to bet on Derek Carr except for you.
All right, we'll see. We will see. JC, what's your best bet for the week?
Give me that over 50 in the Commanders-Cardinals game.
I like that. All right, Tyler. 2 can play this game. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now what?
There you go.
Now
betting
what?
On his team. Congratulations.
I mean,
yeah.
How
does it feel now?
Mad or something?
Yeah, I'm just messing with you. All right, guys. Fun show today. Yeah, I don't know either. Sorry, guys. I didn't sleep well last night. Dude, don't get old, dude. It sucks.
Try not to.
All right, JC. Words of wisdom to get us out of here. We haven't done that for a while.
Oh, wow. Today. Wow. Jeez, man. I feel so ill prepared. I can't believe this. Man, my goodness. Look, just to say from myself from embarrassment, I'm going to go with, my favorite line. It's a new season. All the people need to know straight money wins money. Stop with the parlays. If you want to be successful in this game, straight bets only.
Jaden Daniels, number 1.